This episode contains a discussion of eating disorders and may not be suitable for all listeners. Hey, welcome to Secretly Sporty. I am your host, Sebastian Langdell, and I'm joined here with my co-creator, Austin Rackless.
Hey Sebastian, how's it going?
It's great. How you doing?
I'm good. A little tired, but good.
Have you exercised recently?
It's rest day radio, Sebastian, and I took that to heart. I took a rest day.
Do you want to explain what rest day radio is?
Sure, rest day radio are our sort of more casual episodes, a little looser. They're frequently with people who Sebastian has known for a long time.
Which is definitely the case with our guest today, Halimah Marcus.
Yeah, you went to college with her, is that correct?
I did, yeah. We know each other from way back in college days. She's now executive director of Electric Literature, and she's the editor of a book called Horse Girls. I love this episode because Halimah talks about her passion for horse riding, which is something I hadn't done since I was younger. As I mentioned to her, I went to this summer camp called the Tom Sawyer Camp in LA, which is where I learned to ride horses, and where I maybe learned a little bit to fear horses.
For me, I'm only on mic during these little intros. I'm not on mic during the interview, so I couldn't pop in at that moment to be like, I went to that summer camp too.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I did, yeah. I only went for 1 year, but it is possible it was the same year that you had your incident. I didn't have quite the trauma.
We'll get into the trauma in a minute, yeah, with Halimah. No, that's amazing. We went to the same camp.
We're always circling each other. This podcast was fated to be.
Halimah, in today's episode, talks so interestingly not only about horseback riding, but also about cycling and her love for cycling and traveling in order to pursue these activities. We also are joined in this episode by a friend of the pod, Liam Billingham.
Good friend of the pod. He really helped us get this thing off the ground.
He did. It was a super fun conversation.
We got a new catchphrase out of it.
Stay on the level. Get on the level.
Get on the level. We're still working on it.
Hopefully the level finds its way to you somehow.
All right, maybe we should stop and let's get into this episode.
Let's get into it. Here is Rest Day Radio with Halimah Marcus.
And Liam Billingham.
Well, welcome and thanks for being here, Halimah. We like to start with just kind of learning what you're working on creatively right now. So do you have writing projects that you're working on? What's on the top of the list?
I just finished a novel that went on submission last week. So I am in a period of anticipation.
For the non-writers out there, when you say it's on submission to agents or agents submitting to publishers?
So my agent has sent it to publishers. So the agent's job is, there's so many imprints, there are so many editors, and the agent's job is to be a matchmaker and know about all the imprints at all the different houses and then also all the editors that work there and figure out who to send it to.
Yeah. It
could take a couple weeks for a novel to sell. It could take months. And sometimes novels don't sell. So, you know, all eventualities are possible.
What's the elevator pitch for the novel?
Well, it's not refined, but I will say it is a coming of workforce age novel that draws from my experience kind of moving to New York and trying to break into the publishing industry. So it's about a group of interns at a prestigious kind of legacy literary magazine, and their boss, who's their mentor figure, and the competition between them and the romances or lack thereof between them. So it's called Slush.
Ooh, that's a great title.
Yeah, this is a good title. How long has this been in the works?
3 years. I've been working on it for 3 years.
And when was your last workout?
I had Peloton class. I did just a 15-minute arms and shoulders and 10-minute abs.
Who's your instructor of choice? Because I also do the Peloton, and I've been putting it off all day. Do you have like a favorite instructor that you like to work with?
So for weights, Tunde. I always go to Tunde.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she's hard.
For abs, I love to go to Emma.
Mm-hmm.
Emma Lovewell. And then for like cycling classes, I go to the Power Zone, like the instructors that do like hour-long Power Zones. So I like Dennis Morton and Christian Vandeveld, who's a pro that does classes now, ex-pro.
Is that your go-to Peloton like most days of the week, or do you change it up?
No, I am cycling outside like 3 or 4 days a week, and then I am horseback riding 2 or 3 days a week.
Oh.
And Peloton is definitely reserved for bad weather or for when I'm like squeezing something in. And also I am trying to, you may have noticed my 2 main sports are very leg focused. So I am trying to occasionally pay attention to other parts of my body.
Yeah. When do you bike? When do you horseback ride? Is it like a set schedule, or does it just depend on the week?
In season, it's somewhat set, and I'm only able to do it now because I work from home. But I ride after work, usually Tuesdays and Thursdays. Bike ride after work, usually Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I'm a co-leader of a women's cycling group on Tuesdays, and usually a longer bike ride on the weekend. And then for horseback riding, I try to get out there Mondays and Wednesdays, and then I have a lesson on Fridays.
I mean, that sounds pretty ideal from what I know about you, like that mix of biking, horseback riding. Like, when did you get back into horseback riding?
So horseback riding and biking, I gave up when I moved to New York City pretty much in 2010 and switched and became a runner primarily. And then since leaving the city, I've gotten back into both of those sports. But for cycling, I've gotten into it way more than I ever was before. For horseback riding, I've kept it very casual because when I was a teenager and stuff, I was competitive with it. And now I just do it because I enjoy it and I like being around horses.
Yeah. Do you have your own horse now?
I half lease a horse. So there's a woman, his owner, his name's Bo, and he's a Dutch warm blood. He's a big white horse. And his owner lives in New York City, and she comes up like every other weekend. So she's not here much, and so I can pretty much ride him whenever I feel like it.
Yeah. Because growing up, your horse's name was Dave. Is that right?
Oh my God. You get all the points. How do you even remember that?
I just want to say that's an amazing horse name.
Dave.
It is an amazing horse
It's
name.
an incredible name for a horse.
It's unassuming.
Right, well, it's like so pedestrian. Like, you don't think a horse is ever going to have a very normal name.
You think of all the Daves: Dave Grohl, Dave Foley,
Dave Thomas from Wendy's.
There you go.
Where did the name David come from for your horse? Did it come from anywhere specific?
I didn't name him. He just came with it, and it was just his name.
And he was the same age as you growing up, right?
Oh, you know this because you read Horse Girls, not because you just remember.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not a mind reader, but
We went to college together, so I probably talked about him.
I don't remember you ever saying his name. But yeah, Halimah and I have known each other over 20 years. And I remember you talking about horseback riding, but I don't remember hearing the name. But I was
nor should you.
I don't know if you know this, but like I had a traumatic experience horseback riding when I was a kid.
I feel like I vaguely know, but I couldn't tell you what it was.
I was let me just make this about me. No, I was new to America and I had just come from England, and I was obsessed with cowboy culture, and I thought I wanted to be a stuntman. There was like some kind of cartoon on TV about stuntmen, and so I was at a summer camp called Tom Sawyer Camp, and I asked them for their wildest horse because I wanted to get some training as a stuntman. I was like, just give me. I was maybe like 8 years old.
Was this in LA?
This is in LA. I wore cowboy boots every day. There was this horse named Shaban, and we went out, and it was a fun ride. And we went out into the desert of La Cañada, California. There was like a NASA outpost there, like a jet propulsion laboratory, and there were always these like government helicopters taking off and landing. And right as we were coming into the corral, a black helicopter landed next to us, and Shaban got really spooked and bolted. And I kind of like got my arm caught in the reins and got dragged on cement for a while.
That's bad. And at least he was probably like, he had a good reason to get spooked.
Oh yeah. If
a kid shows up and is like, "Give me your wildest horse," they should treat you like white person showing up at like an authentic Indian restaurant asking for like the spiciest curry.
I've done that. I hate to say it, I've done it.
This horse he came by that spook, honestly, with if there was like a Black Hawk helicopter landing.
For sure. And I got back on the horse.
Metaphorically.
Maybe never, but metaphorically, I think I'm back on the horse. But I mean, all of that was by way of saying I haven't really done much horse riding since I was a kid. But that element of it where there's this living creature, right, is so different from the sports that I do know, like running, yoga, weightlifting. I don't know. Can you talk a little bit about what that's like to be engaged with something living?
I heard this joke that I really like because it speaks to my two main sports, which is that horseback riding is a great sport for cyclists who wish their bike could make bad decisions, which is bicycle's not going to like rear up or speed up or do something crazy. But, you know, the bond is something really powerful. And I think horses in particular hold a lot of contrast because they're very fragile animals, but they're also very powerful. And they are wild, but also very submissive. Like the fact that we can ride them is kind of amazing. And even though humans have been doing it for thousands of years. And yeah, I mean, it's a relationship that's somewhere between, somewhere related to a pet, but it's not quite the same as a pet. And it's not quite the same as a working animal either. It's somewhere in between. And, I'll tell my own horse trauma story. So before Dave, I had a horse named JP who got an injury and then a blood infection. He got a cut and then a blood infection and then had to be put down. You know, I was 14 or something and I was devastated. I slept with like his horse blanket in bed afterwards, which was probably pretty gross. This story is morbid, but there's a funny part to it if you find morbid things funny.
I do.
Definitely.
So my mom and I, you know, opted to get him cremated. You know, and we went to go pick up the ashes and, you know, I had a plan to like scatter them in the field and maybe keep some. And we go to pick them up and they bring out for us 100-pound bag of ashes.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, and we like couldn't carry and we like put it in the back of the car, like weighs it down like you're buying dirt at Home Depot. You know, that was very sad and I've opened my heart to a new horse and, you know, hopefully he'll live forever.
Here's hoping.
Yeah.
So are you doing horse riding competitions right now?
I'm not. I don't really want to.
Yeah.
I was pretty competitive with it in high school.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I kind of want to keep it pure and not do the competition thing.
Is there anything that you like to do competitively?
Well, I'm quite competitive with myself and ambitious with my cycling practice. Like I have doubled the amount of miles I've ridden year over year for the past like 3 years and have just gotten like pretty intense about it. So my kind of, I would say like athletic ambition is really focused there. Whereas the horseback riding, I would say is more of, like a pastime that I'm really enjoying and a skill that I'm developing, but the way I'm approaching it is not as athletic as cycling.
Is there like a bike race that you're training for right now?
So I was supposed to do this Century on Sunday, but it got canceled. It was the Catskill Cycling Challenge, and I guess the race director had a medical emergency, so it's canceled. So we're planning to do my friends are planning to do our own Century, which is 100 miles.
Okay.
And it's a little bit of a relief because the planned Century was supposed to have 7,000 feet of climbing, and we're going to do about 5,000. So it won't be quite as grueling, although it will still be long.
It's hilly up there. Like, it's no joke.
It is hilly, and in
Yeah.
the area where the Century was supposed to be, you really go 1 to 100 in terms of miles to feet of climb. So the fact that it was 7,000 instead of 10,000 feet around there is actually like good, because you bike 30 miles in that area, you're climbing 3,000 feet. And it's hard to, you have to kind of make an effort if you want to climb less than that. But I've gotten really into climbing. I like enjoy it. And last summer, a local cycling club put forward a challenge to climb all the most difficult climbs in the Catskills in between May and October. So I did that last year, and that kind of broke a seal of some kind.
And over the summer, you were in France? Were you doing the Tour de France route? Is that right?
I went on a trip to the French Alps. That was like a organized tour run by Trek Travel to do some of the classic climbs of the Alps that are all featured on the Tour de France route at different times. It changes every year. So, these climbs have been featured, but aren't necessarily on it this year. So I was training for that all year. That trip was in July. So starting really in like February, I was training for that. So then I got back and was kind of like, well, now what do I do? And so then I signed up for the Century, and I don't know. I did really enjoy the goal, although the training was quite time consuming. But now I'm still kind of doing the same amount just because, I don't know, can't stop.
Do you think there's like a correlation between the fact that you write and you like the climbing? And the only reason I ask is because like as someone that's not really a day-to-day writer, I do sometimes feel like that's like a battle uphill for me as a person. Like, do you think there's some kind of connection between those as activities? Because they're like, to me, it's like weirdly similar, getting pages down on a paper and like really struggling to get up a hill.
I do think there is a connection. I think there's a connection with the timing in terms of having the courage and stamina to complete a novel, and the courage and stamina to try to go bike up the hardest climbs in the Catskills. Because one thing that appealed to me about that challenge to do all the climbs is like, I liked that there could be no road climb within a certain radius of where I live that I hadn't done or that I was intimidated by. Because I would be very intimidated by some of these climbs. And I think just pushing myself in that way and discovering new abilities in that way gave me more courage to push myself in terms of writing a book. And, stamina requires a lot of patience as well. Like a really hard climb takes a really long time, and it takes a long time in discomfort. You spend more time in discomfort, and that's definitely true of writing as well.
These are both riding sports, like riding a bike, riding a horse.
Yeah, it's like I can't have my feet touch the ground.
Not allowed.
Riding a horse and riding a bike, in some ways, there's a kind of like equalizing factor that the horse plays or that the bike plays in terms of making your body like more efficient or more athletic. Like, so for a bicycle, it's the most efficient way for a human to travel under their own power. You're going to be able to go the fastest and the most efficient, but like a human powered thing. The sun is becoming aggressive, but maybe I'll just let that go. Okay. In horseback riding, it's the only sport that men and women compete equally at the top levels, at the Olympic level, at all the best levels in the world. Men and women compete equally. So there's no other sport where that's true that I'm aware of. For example, I just watched, there's a big 5-star competition in England of the discipline I used to participate in, which is called eventing, which is like a triathlon for horses, where it's dressage, show jumping, and cross country. And cross country is like across the country, hard fences, logs, ditches, banks. Wow. It was originally a military discipline. And so I watched this competition called Burley, and a woman won, and was pregnant when she won. Oh, wow. Like at the top level of the sport. And I just thought that was so amazing and something that I've hardly seen. I maybe there's been instances where people are winning at the top level of their sport while pregnant. And I thought that her name's Rosalind Cantor.
Are you like looking for the feeling of flying in either instance?
Oh, yeah.
That's what you're kind of going for in both instances?
Yes. When I was younger and had access to that, like galloping in a field is the most amazing feeling one can have.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I love to descend on the bike, go fast. I really enjoy it. I think there's like a freedom from your like corporal form that happens in both instances, which I have to say I really never felt running. Like I felt like I was being pounded into the pavement at all times.
You've got the gear, like you've got help when you're riding, like either kind of riding. You've got the horse, you've got the bike, you've got that thing that's like giving you that extra like unhuman speed.
Yeah, it's like human plus. It's an upgrade.
Superhuman. It's superhuman speed. I've had a foot injury for like a year that's only like healed recently, so I haven't been running for like a while. But I was running this morning with like brand new sneakers on, going downhill and just like picking up speed and having forgotten that feeling, which would be much faster on a bike, but like having forgotten that feeling of like picking up speed and just kind of like, especially in like new shoes, like the springiness and the ability to just kind of gallop downhill. It helps that I'm 7 feet tall, I think, too. My strides are like, it's like the BFG kind of galloping.
You're a
across
giant,
cities. Yeah.
Yeah, I love letting it, like running down a hill and you're like, just let it rip and just don't eat shit. Just
Well, I think that's it. It's like we were talking last week also about the time that I ran for 2 hours straight, which was like the first time I'd ever done that, and being like 45 minutes in and being like that runner's high of like, I'm doing this and I can just keep doing it. And I'm not feeling the dread thoughts of like, what if I get tired? What if my legs give out? What if, like that, like you achieve this like kind of euphoric state of existence where you're like, you mentioned it earlier. It's like the challenge, endurance requires patience, right? And I like, so the second that you kind of like achieve that patience in those moments, I think in running feels like the closest I'd ever get to flying, because I don't ride. I ride a bike, but I've ridden one horse in my life. But I think I achieve that in the long runs that I forget that I'm even running. I go somewhere else.
Last year when I was doing that collect them all cycling challenge of climbing up all the Catskill climbs, there was one 3-mile climb. And, I don't have a bike computer yet, and I'll get one, but I was kind of on it and like, how long is this? How much more is it? And I passed this guy in front of his house sitting on an ATV, like a big guy. And I was like, hey, you want to give me a tow? Like, I'm just trying to entertain myself as I like huff and puff up this hill. And expecting like kind of a quip back. And he was like, you've got a mile left. You better get on the level. And I was like, oh. And I was like, okay, you better get on the level. And like, that's one of my little like mantras when you're like on a climb, you're like, when the hell is this going to be over? Oh my God, it's so long. I don't want to do it. It's like, get on the level. Like, it's kind of like get your head on the game, or it's just like, also like adjust your mindset to like the pitch of the hill.
As a rider, do you feel like that expression kind of beats other like the more kind of canned expressions because of its originality? Like you can kind of motivate yourself better because you haven't heard it so much. Like you've heard.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, he's not saying get your head in the game.
Yeah, get your head in the game.
Yeah,
you got
that's
this.
That's a great point for like advocating for not using cliches, because lots of times writers do want to use cliches because they're what we're familiar with, and they're oftentimes what you would say if you were speaking and not writing. But it's always fresher and gives you a new understanding if you can like put it in.
And it can feel like yours in a way. Like it can feel like nobody else has this going through their head right now, so it's magic.
That's a great.
And I love to tell everyone, get on the level.
Get on the level.
I thought you were going to ask, like, does that apply to writing? And I think it does too, because I've been thinking about how so much writers like love to talk about, oh, they hate writing, or it's really difficult, or it's unpleasant.
Yeah. But
that's really changed for me. And I don't know if that's with like age and maturity, as it starts to feel like a precious thing that I get to do. And it's great if I can have time to do it. And I'm like, actually, like sometimes it's difficult, but actually I like it, and I like difficult things, and it's rewarding, and like I'm not, reframing that and looking at like how I actually do enjoy spending my time. And so, you got to get on the level too when you're writing, and not be like, oh, why am I doing this? I'd rather do something else. Like, no one's making you.
Right.
Does riding stimulate you for reading? Just riding the bike or the horse, does that help feed into the creativity? Like, could you, like, is it a good way to clear the cobwebs before you start to write?
Well, because my it kind of goes on the same weekly schedule. Like, since I'm a 4-day a week person, Fridays are a big writing day for me. So it's not that one is going right into the other. I think it's more holistically about like the balance of mind and body. Sometimes I'll think about a writing question while I'm on the bike, but usually I think it's just a more of a time to get out of my head.
When you think about books that have this like element of adventure or maybe even like an exercise element, are there any recommended reading?
Yeah. So Heartwood by Amity Gage is that came out recently, and it is inspired by a true story of this woman who got lost on the Appalachian Trail. It's very different from the actual story, but it is about a woman who goes missing on the Appalachian Trail.
Mm-hmm.
That is great. I read a book recently called Dixon Descending. That is about brothers who climb Mount Everest and end up being the first Black American men to summit Everest. But what happened in the book, they go on the trip and then only one of them comes back and he's all messed up and you don't know what happened.
Wow.
And he's also like a high school teacher. That's excellent. I just read Crux by Gabriel Talent, and that's about two high school students who are best friends and live in the Joshua Tree area and want to become rock climbers. And that has a lot about like rock climbing as a metaphor for life, and in ways that I read it as a metaphor for writing, even though that wasn't like the deliberate way it was delivered.
Can you give like a snippet of what you mean by that?
Well, so crux is like the hard part of a climb. So the crux move is like the part of the climb that is like the climax. It's like the most difficult thing. It's like somewhere in the middle. And so it was kind of about how it's not about the top. It's not about the summit. It's about the crux.
No, I mean, like it goes back to your on the level kind of like imperative too, right? This idea that like when you're at the difficult part or something, or like you're pushing through the hard part of writing sometime, or realizing that like this is the experience, like getting to the end is not the experience.
Yes, and I think that's really important for publishing because the experience of publishing work is often unsatisfying or disappointing or complicated for people, and so you have to, like you just said, like the writing has to be the part that you're in it for. I think even people that have very successful publications can feel strangely about it.
Yeah, you would assume that people find a level of success in literature and then they're just kind of, they've got that flying feeling forever, but it's not so, right? Like
no,
you still hit the crux, you know.
Yeah.
On that note, can you like think back to a moment in your life when you're going through something very difficult where exercise really helped you through?
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a wonderful companion that, you know, whatever difficult thing is occurring, I know that I have that in my back pocket as something that I can do. You know, just recently at Electric Literature, a former colleague passed away suddenly, and that was very difficult. And, you know, I was able to go on a bike ride and just know that, you know, can have that air coming in, you know. And then as I wrote about in my essay that was on Amazon, when I was a teenager, I struggled with an eating disorder. And it was really the motivation to be able to ride a horse that got me out of it, because you can't be starving yourself and weak and then get on a 2,000-pound animal and expect to have good results. So that was something that was outside of myself that I was motivated to change for, and that was kind of like what tipped the scales for me at that time.
That piece is so moving, and especially the line, you can either be thin or you can ride, right? Your coach at the time saying, like, laying down the law essentially and saying, like, this is what you need in order to ride. And this is, you have to get at
what
it.
do you want?
Right.
Like, is what you want to be thin? Because that's all you're going to have. You're not going to have anything else. And that was like a real wake-up call when she said that. Yeah, you could be thin or you can ride. And I was like, okay, well, I'd rather ride. So, and it wasn't like it was done tomorrow, but, it was a turning point.
I mean, thank you for writing that, and thank you for sharing those as well. Equally, is there a moment that has felt like in your memory, like an exercise moment that's just been like especially euphoric?
I feel like I get that a lot riding a bike. Like there is a climb here up to Mohonk Mountain House is in the Shwangunks near here. So we have the Catskills to the north and Shwangunks a little to the south. And it's a nice climb up there. And coming down, if you come down one way, you can see the Catskill Mountains. And I think the first time I went out and did it by myself, and I've never done. This is all new to me in the last 3 years, like climbings like this, descents like this.
Yeah.
Catskill Mountains, sun, clouds, like I literally cried. I was so happy. Just riding going down the hill, flying. I was like just crying by myself, just leaning into it.
Yeah.
And then, and this recent trip to the Alps, I mean, that was huge for me because I've been watching the Tour de France since I was in college. My dad always loved it and like showed me like old VHS tapes, and it was always something that I thought like skinny European men did and like had nothing to do with me. So the idea that like I could even get up the same mountains they get up, even if it is like at a quarter of the speed.
That is so cool.
Was really powerful to me. And the best day I had there was climbing the Glandon, which was like a 21 kilometer climb. And just through like alpine fields, and there's babbling brook, and there's flowers, and there's snow-capped mountains, and we could see Mont Blanc in the other direction. And it was just like, I didn't care that I was like, I was fully on the level, but it's a 2-hour climb. You're climbing for 2 hours or however long it took.
Yeah.
And that was incredible. Loved that. So not only going downhill, sometimes I have a good time going uphill too.
It's the crux, right?
Yeah, the crux.
We have a lightning round for you.
Okay.
It's like a game show.
Okay. I'm ready.
Protein shake or protein bar?
Bar.
Bar.
I don't get it together to make the shakes usually.
Cottage cheese or Greek yogurt?
I really like cottage cheese.
Sauna or cold plunge?
Can I do neither?
Yes.
I don't want to go in either of them.
Super hot, super cold. No, thank you.
I feel like, especially riding in here, around here, as the seasons start to change, there's like a lot of effort made to like control my body temperature.
What about riding in the morning, as in W riding in the morning or riding in the evening?
Morning.
I think I might know the answer to this, but high octane loud music when you're working out or mellow meditative chill out music?
I want some energy.
Yeah.
When I was running a lot, I did start listening to podcasts just because there was so much time. But I really think I slowed down.
This is a tricky one, and I think you should just go with whoever's face appears in your mind first, but would you rather meet your artistic hero or your athletic hero? Oh,
I kind of want to say athletic hero, but I feel like it's a betrayal of my whole life.
It's okay.
Well, because the athletic hero, I'm just going to get a picture and I'm going to be happy.
Right.
That's true. Last speed round question. Do you want the weather kind of warm and sunny, or would you rather it kind of brisk and cool?
I'm going to go warm and sunny. I mean, even though sweating a lot, I like when you don't have to think about what to wear. So you're just like shorts, t-shirt, bib, jersey. Whereas there's a lot of hemming and hawing as the seasons start to change. We're like, should I wear a jacket? Should I wear a vest? Do I need long sleeves? So even if it's hot, you just know what you wear and then you just deal with it.
Well, then like you're based in New York. So it's kind of like the summer / fall weather is what
It's
you're
not
looking
your
forward
summer.
to. Yeah, I'm thinking about coming out of Austin. Yeah, and the summer is not the time you want to be running outside. So yeah,
It's not a Texas summer around here, and the fall here is incredibly beautiful and
Yeah.
a great time for being out.
Well, thanks so much for chatting with us. This has been a pleasure. It's so good to see you.
Yeah, you too. It was fun. And now you know that I got obsessed with cycling, and that's my main update in life.
I mean, and the horse riding's back.
The horse
And
riding's
you're
back, yeah.
Fully on the level.
And I'm on the level. And you guys should get on the level too, frankly. It's a great place to be.
It's on the top of my to-do list. Just an update. Since talking to Halimah, we're happy to report that Slush, her debut novel, is being published by Pamela Dorman Books, an imprint of Viking, so watch out for that. Secretly Sporty was created and is produced by Sebastian Langdell and Austin Rackless. It's hosted by me, Sebastian Langdell, edited by Austin Rackless and Andy Rattinger. Our music is composed by Catherine Joy, cover art by Ben Wiseman, represented by Illustration Division Inc. This outro song you're listening to right now is Buried Treasure by the National Lights. Special thanks to Liam Billingham. Please note that we are not medical professionals nor personal trainers. Not all exercises are suitable for everyone. Always consult a doctor before starting any new exercise routine or nutritional program. The views expressed in this show are those of the show's creators or the guests, and not those of any other entity or institution.